Welcome to today's episode of Between Neens and Deens. My name is Nina, and I'm joined by my best friend, partner, and baby daddy, Dayon.
And together, we're a couple of 20-something-year-olds just trying to navigate this whole first-time parenting thing.
So we're laying it all out there and talking about all the things you wish your parents told you about love, sex, and happiness. Hello. We are recording from our new office. We haven't fully decided where we're going to film our podcast yet, so all the next couple episodes are probably going to sound a little bit different as we test out the different rooms. But today we are talking all about sleep, and I feel like we've postponed this episode for a while because we were just getting as much practice as possible in like putting Blue to sleep, and it's like one of those things where it's constantly changing. At the very beginning, he was sleeping, like, it's very deep sleep, so once he's asleep, he's like out, like cold. That's like when people say that babies will sleep anywhere, like that's what they're referring to. Like he'll sleep on you, he'll sleep when you put him down, but then like when he wasn't sleeping, he would be like really upset.
Like screaming.
So, yeah, like screeching, like purple, red. Like tears don't come out yet, but it's like screaming to the point where there's like no sound, where they're like almost gasping for air. It's very sad. They're also very cute, so it's like you're upset, and I get that, but also so cute. So like that was kind of the beginning, and what we're dealing with right now is something that I'd heard about before, but I didn't realize was as awful as it currently is the 4-month sleep regression. So
Nina just kept telling me to Google it because I kept trying to find like, oh, he must be upset because it might be too cold or it might be too hot.
It was
or like
so annoying.
Trying to figure out like, oh, maybe it's like this light is like in his
it
face.
got to the point where
She's like,
Dan
Google
was like,
it.
where he was like putting him to sleep and he wouldn't go to sleep, and Dan was like, oh, like it was so scary. I was like in the room, and like the fan was like rotating, and then there was like a little light, and then I saw a shadow, and like I thought that it was just a shadow of me, but like I think that's what he's scared of. I think that's why he won't go to sleep. And I'm like, I swear to fucking God, just Google 4-month sleep regression and then talk to me. Like, don't talk to me right now.
It's a thing. I didn't know that like that was an actual thing.
Yeah, because I think the thing is like everyone tells you, and it does, like it gets easier, and it 100% does, but what they don't also tell you is that they're constantly changing. Like babies are constantly changing, which obviously you know, but they're growing, they're changing, and if you've been able to successfully put them to sleep before, it doesn't mean that that's going to continue to work. Like it's not like, yes, you want to build good sleeping habits, so like you should obviously
you should continue the routine.
Yeah, you should continue the routine. Like don't switch things up on them, because even if things aren't working as well as they were before, you like completely switching up your routine or trying to put them to sleep in various different ways is just going to further confuse them. So I guess like before we get into like the 4-month sleep regression, we can talk about what it was really like trying to put him to sleep as a newborn, and like kind of by months. Talking about
from the beginning, like step 1?
From the beginning.
Like first few days?
Yeah, like, I mean, the first few days were rough. We talked about this in our earlier episode, so I don't want to, like, repeat what we've already talked about. But it was really rough. Like, if Blue wasn't sleeping, then he was crying or he was eating. Like, that was literally it. And I think from what we kind of understand now, like, he was a very fussy baby.
I personally feel like he might have been a little colicky. Like a lot of
100%,
gas. So there's anytime that he would like be put down or like try to lay down his back, he would just start like crying immediately, even if he's like asleep in your arms.
Yeah.
So like that was quite difficult, and like he always had like trapped gas bubbles that we'd have to like.
So you have to like help them. Like you have to help massage their their body and like their stomach to like try to get the gas out, like so he'll fart. Or you have to like really constantly burp him. And what we found is that we were always trying to put Blue down so that he would go to sleep. And like now he actually sleeps in his crib like really well. So I know that a lot of parents struggle with that. Like you'll either co-sleep with them in your bed or like they'll only fall asleep in your arms. So like thankfully we pushed through, and we didn't even really realize that we were pushing through. We were just like, he needs to sleep in his crib. So we'd constantly put him down. But I think that a lot of times he would be crying because he just wanted to be held. And so he was like, wait, no, like it's warm, like put me back in your arms. So I think like it was just a really big learning curve to understand your baby. So I think like the hardest thing about reading things online or parenting books or anything like that is that yes, you can get general advice on like what you can try if things aren't working. I think that's the best thing that you can do, but it really comes down to you understanding your baby and like spending enough time like really like taking into account like, okay, when I do this they fall asleep, when I do this they like it, when I do this they don't like it, and every baby's so different.
There's a large learning curve because like I mean even now it's not like we fully understand him like and what he needs, but like with time you kind of learn the routine and like what works for your baby, but it's so hard. Like that learning curve is like, because there were so many nights where I'm just like, what does he want? Like I'm so confused.
So
I'm like
frustrated.
I need to tab out. Like
He would get so frustrated. But in the beginning like sleep was hard and it was just kind of whatever. Like some people say that you can sleep train your baby from the beginning, and I don't think that's true because you can't really train them. I think that you can create good like sleeping habits. So like kind of like how we would constantly put him in the crib when we wanted him to nap or sleep. Like that's a good habit, you know, so that he doesn't get used to sleeping in our bed if we don't want him to do that permanently. But you can't necessarily, in my opinion, at least for our baby, and what we've read online, is that you can't necessarily be like, okay, it's 6 a.m., you need to wake up. It's 9 a.m., you need to go to sleep. Like, you can't really, like, have hard and fast times for them because, like, they, one, sleep so much and it's just so irregular. Like, their circadian rhythm is just not developed. So day and night is not a concept. They're just kind of sleeping constantly whenever they're tired. And, like, overtiredness is a thing. Like, we didn't know this. And so you just assume that like when you're so tired, you'll just pass out and you'll just pass out hard and cold. But babies need a lot of help falling asleep. So every baby's so different. So some people's babies will just fall asleep in like bright daylight, and sound or no sound, like it doesn't really matter. But for Blue, we found that if it was dark in his room, so we put up like blackout curtains and stuff. If it's dark in his room and there's white noise, if he has a pacifier, the pacifier did and didn't work at the beginning. But anyways,
it depends on like,
he'll tell us when he wants it. If he cries a lot, then we'll put it in and he'll calm down. But then sometimes if he's relatively calm and you put it in, he'll just spit it out. So we found that it was better to just not force it. Or if
he's crying too much, he won't.
Yeah, if he's crying too much, he's just bright red and his mouth is perpetually open, so it won't close on the pacifier. But that, and then also... what was I talking about?
So much fun stuff. Just like
it's honestly a lot. I'm like trying to dig in the archives because that's the thing, is that they change so much.
They change so quickly.
Like 4 months
during that time too. Like we honestly, it was tough for us to get any rest because anytime we would close our eyes, it was just like perpetual visions of our baby crying, you know what I mean?
You just constantly hear him crying. It's been the last couple days because of the sleep regression that I keep thinking that I hear him crying, but he's not actually. I think that's the hardest part, is that when you're trying to rest, your body is still in high stress mode and you're like constantly alert because you're like so used to running back into the room if he's crying. So yeah, it's hard to rest. But I think another thing that I should note that I was just thinking about is when I was buying baby products or like looking for advice and stuff, a lot of reviews that I found were like, oh, like, I mean, it's only really good for like the first couple months and then they grow out of it. So then I like would not buy things or like not care to do things because I was like, oh, well, like it's only gonna last for like a month or two. Like they grow out of it by 3 months. Like I won't get it. But like if there's anything like that, I would recommend that you do still get it because 3 months seems like a very short amount of time in their lifetime. But like even now, like the first, so far what we've experienced 4 months has been so short and very fast at the same time that like anything that's going to help you in this period of time, get it.
What do you mean short and very fast?
Short because he grew so much. But it went by, short and fast are the same thing.
Yeah, so I'm like, what do you mean?
I meant long and fast.
Yeah, it felt like a long time because of like just how exhausting it is.
And because how much you're learning and because of how much they're growing. So yeah, all I wanted to say, that was like the longest convoluted way of saying it. But basically
and if there's messed up instead of wrong,
if there's something that you want to buy that people say is going to be helpful, for example, like the Miracle blanket or like the Miracle swaddle, 10 and 10, highly recommend. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's grown out of it now.
He's grown out of it now, so it's only been 3 months.
Very helpful.
Yeah, it's like if your baby likes to be swaddled, we tried a bunch of different ones, and Dayon's also like an expert swaddler from like just like a big square blanket, and that worked for a little bit, but Blue is so strong that he breaks out of all of them. So if you can get your hands on a Miracle Swaddle, I think it's like slightly more expensive than all the other blankets and stuff, but it works phenomenally because it like tucks the straps or like the pieces of cloth under his body.
It goes like over his arms and then like under him, so then that way it's like, yeah, as much as he like kicks and moves, it like it's still being carried or like held together by his weight, which is pretty clutch.
So his arms always stay down, and like he sleeps way longer because for the other ones, like other things we didn't realize, like if he's waking up frequently, he could be too hot, too cold, the swaddle is loose, you need to change his diaper. Like there's so many different little things.
Different variables. Yeah.
That you like have to check for. So before, like when Blue would like wake up crying, we're like, oh my God, he must be hungry. But now it's like, okay, like have you done all the other things? Like is he hot? Is he cold? Does he need to be changed? Like check all of that stuff before you assume that like he's awake and like wants to be awake, because then we would take him out of his crib and we're like, okay, he wants to be awake now, and then he'd get so upset because he's like, I'm not done sleeping, like you need to just put me back to sleep. So yeah, it just takes a lot of time, and we're still learning because they're still changing. But yeah, for a period of time he managed to sleep through the night, so he actually got to do that very early on. And like I said, like we didn't have like a routine for him, but roughly every night he would go to sleep anywhere from like 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and that's like after his bath. So we give him a bath.
Those were the days.
Yeah, we give him a bath. He'll like go to sleep. Like I feed him, and it is a crutch. It's a crutch that he needs to be fed to go to sleep. But it was just that like he needs to be really full in order to stay asleep, or else he'll wake up. So basically, I'll feed him. He'll wake up
hungry, right?
Yeah, I'll feed him, and then he goes to sleep at like 6 or 8, and then he won't wake up until like 6, 7 a.m. And so he slept like a full 12 hours for, I would say, like all of his 3 months. I think like starting around like 6.5, 3 months is when he started doing that, which is crazy because I think we got a lot more sleep than most parents do. And like a lot of parents, even up until like 9 months, are still like doing like a nighttime feed, which sounds awful. I don't want to go back there, but we're kind of there right now. So he was doing that since like 2.5 to 3 months. And then now at 4 months, and also I think like us moving has a really big part in that. Like your baby does need a routine. So like when we were doing it consistently and like he was having very consistent kind of nap times, when I say consistent, it's not that we were like, yeah, like at 6 a.m. he needs to wake up or whatever. It was just allowing him to tell us when he was awake or asleep, and then we realized it fell into a pattern. Mm-hmm. So basically whenever he tells you that he's tired, you put him down, he naps, and then at nighttime when he sleeps, he was sleeping through the night, except for when we were moving, it was just like all of that went out the window. Our schedule
was all over the place. Yeah.
Like we were waking him up in the middle of the night to like move him.
My mom babysitting as well. And then also like Blue sleeps very soundly when all the conditions are like right. So like even during the times when he was sleeping beautifully, if we took him to someone else's house or like to a different environment where there wasn't the white noise and it wasn't blacked out and he wasn't swaddled properly, like he would wake up and he wouldn't be able to sleep. So like with the move as well, like what we did lose was like the ability to like properly black out the room and things like that. So like yeah, I mean there is a 4-month regression, but then also like the conditions aren't ideal as to where they were before. Yeah, we really
fucked ourselves over.
Yeah, but I mean we're just waiting on some blackout curtains to get here.
Yeah, we also had him sleeping in like the pack and play for a while because we like hadn't moved the crib yet. Yeah, and that was rough because like the pack and play is great if you're like still using the bassinet, but he was too big for it, and like the little like I don't know, bottom thing that he sleeps on is just like so, it's like literally so scratchy. Yeah, so it's like the moment that you set him down, it's like making all this plastic noise.
Yeah, it's like that so reflective material for some reason. But
yeah. But basically like I would say we probably accelerated or really amplified the 4-month regression because of the move. But 4-month sleep regression is basically because your baby is learning how to sleep and his circadian rhythm is more set now, but
And that's like knowing what night and dark is, right?
Yeah, like night and day. So like obviously like we tend to get tired like at nighttime.
Oh my God, because I said night and dark.
Night and dark.
Night and day, yes.
Night and day. But yeah, it's because like we tend to get tired like at a certain time because we know that's sleep time, and that's just your natural circadian rhythm, like telling you when to go to sleep and when to wake up. And so for babies, that's kind of like beginning to set. But also it's because now they're sleeping more like adults, where we have light sleep and deep sleep. And so you have like all the cycles, whereas newborn babies pretty much just fall into deep sleep. That's why when they're out cold, and there's like nothing that will really wake them up, like loud sounds or light or anything. So that was them before. And now, because he has like the different cycles, it's pretty scary to like fall asleep. Like that feeling of falling asleep is scary to them. And so what we found is that now he falls asleep when we're holding him. And then as soon as you put him down, he like immediately wakes up because he's in light sleep. Whereas before, you're holding him, you put him down, and he's already in deep sleep. So he doesn't wake up.
He doesn't even realize what's going on. But now he knows that he's been let go.
Yeah, he knows that he's been let go. So you kind of need to hold him for longer. And what we found, I don't know if it's helpful for anybody, but if you ever plan
on... It's also not foolproof because
not foolproof.
It works sometimes.
But, I mean, these are all things that I feel like we kind of, like, read about or heard about before. And I think I just didn't take it seriously because you always want to think that your child is an exception. And so, like, I just assumed that, like, things would be easier for us. I think just by nature, I was like, yeah, that's what it is. And so take notes if you want to. But basically what we found is that, like, if we hold him, set him down, and then, like, immediately put your hand, like, on his chest, just that he knows that it's okay to be in the crib, like, we're still here, and then just allow him to, like, sleep a little, like, fall deeper and deeper into sleep. We only do that for, like, maybe a minute or two where we stay with him and, like, put our hand on him. But it definitely helps. And I'm hoping, like today, it seems to be a little bit easier than yesterday. So I'm hoping that he's going to start moving out of the 4-month sleep regression. But yeah, it's been rough.
What does it say? It lasts roughly like 2 weeks?
It lasts anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks. And if the habits continue past that, that means that it's not the sleep regression. It means that you created a new sleep habit or routine, and
that's
so then you need to fix that.
Yeah, it's crazy just to think like how like the smallest things that you don't even realize could create like a bad habit for your child.
Yeah.
And like it's like you have to be very conscious and aware of all those little things that like we could possibly do wrong that would just kind of mess up our lives and mess up his. You know what I mean? Where like he'll always need that per se. So
like that's the thing. That's what we were saying about like feeding. So obviously feeding him so that he can fall asleep is a crutch. So a crutch would be, you know, anything from like rocking your baby so that they fall asleep, feeding them so that they fall asleep, swaddling so that they fall asleep. Like is needing something so that they can fall asleep is a crutch. And like I don't necessarily know if it's the worst thing, because I'm pretty sure that I was like fed to go to sleep, because even for as long as I can remember, my mom would give me a bottle to take to bed so that like I would fall asleep. So for me it was a thing, and now I'm fine. Like it's not like I need to eat to fall asleep, but I do need to be like content and like fed. I can't go to sleep. Actually, that's not true. I can go to sleep hungry.
Sometimes you eat sleep for breakfast.
Yeah, I eat sleep for dinner sometimes. But all I'm saying is that it's not the worst thing, in my opinion. But anyways, like we do feed him to go to sleep, because we found very early on that if he isn't fully fed throughout the day, it's not just about the feed right before you go to sleep, because obviously like it's like if you try to shove like all the amount of food that you need in a day at dinner time, like you're gonna get full and you can't eat any more than that.
Or just at once in general.
Yeah, so then it's like you have to be very conscious of like feeding them a sufficient amount for them to be full for the like whole day throughout the day. So like I realized that on days where we're busy kind of doing other stuff and we're not feeding him as much as we normally do, then that's when he sleeps more poorly. And the thing is, like, also to know with 4-month sleep regression is not only are his sleep cycles changing, it's because he's growing. So like now he's like fully aware of like everything in the room around him. He's constantly looking at stuff. He's starting to sit up now. Like we literally positioned him in the sit position. Actually, it's really cute because we have a reel of him trying to sit up and falling over. But now if we sit him up, and then put his hands in front of him, then he can actually kind of stabilize himself. So he's like learning to do all these things, and he's more aware of the world around him. And as a result, he doesn't want to like just feed. Like before, he would be so happy to feed, and that was the only thing I think that kind of made him happy, because he couldn't really see or hear things. But now he's like so happy and content doing other stuff. And so getting enough food in him is like something I actually have to be aware of, because before he would just cry and I'm like, oh, he's hungry. Yeah. Whereas now I'm like, hey, you need to eat. So yeah, it's like so many different things, and like he is constantly growing. Like we're not Googling as much as we did in the beginning, but we honestly still should, because there are so many developmental milestones, and like it's just a chain effect, you know, like when one thing changes and like all the other things change.
And then there's also teething, which is I feel like it's happening kind of soon.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, he tends to put a lot of things in his mouth right now, and that's normally a sign of him teething. Yeah. But, yeah, I just remember in the beginning, like, I had so many tabs open of just, like, Google questions about literally everything. Like, is this normal? Is this okay?
And then every single time that Dayon tries to come up with a theory, I'm like, please just Google. Because I don't want to hear your theories. I want to know what's actually happening with our baby.
Yeah, I'm just, like, trying to create theories based on like what I would like.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, adults are so different from babies.
They are so different.
Yeah, like he wouldn't be scared by like a little shadowy figure, because
it was large.
Yeah, because it was your shadow. But the thing is, like, but babies don't really know what fear is. You know, like fears develop from like other contexts. You know
what they say? Fear gets brought down. Did you know that?
You mean generational? You said that in a really weird way. Where does it get brought down from?
Is it hereditary?
Yeah, they're hereditary.
Is that the word?
Yeah.
So
it makes sense.
So if I'm scared of like spiders, which I am, then supposedly my DNA gets adjusted.
Both of us are scared of spiders, so Blue's gonna be really scared of spiders.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of crazy that like our DNA gets adjusted and lets him know that like this is a danger?
But that's like, okay, I can see why that would be nature, but I feel like it also could be nurture, because if he sees you freaking out about a spider, he's gonna freak out as well. And maybe in the beginning it's just for fun, but then he might actually be like, that's scary. You know, because kids just replicate what it is that you do.
So should I try and act like I'm not afraid of it, and then see if he is genuinely afraid of it?
Because that's the thing, is that if we are both afraid of it, we need to have somebody in the home that isn't afraid of catching spiders, so they can do it for us. So we need to condition him.
But how do we play it off like we're not afraid of it? We're like, yeah, we're not afraid of that, but could you just catch it and put it outside?
Yeah. He'll probably just grab it, just be like, just grab it with your hand.
And he's just like crawling on his arm.
Oh God.
Meanwhile, we can't hide the fact that we're scared of the spiders at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty funny though. I guess I don't really know what other... I do have a fear of the dark. I wonder if that would be hereditary.
You know what I'm afraid of is when I turn off lights behind me.
Yeah, I actually...
Like in a hallway.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, that's the scariest, because then like the moment you turn off the light, you feel like that there's something behind you.
I'm always scared of bathrooms.
Bathrooms?
Yeah, like I used to go skating growing up, and at the skating rink there's like a huge bathroom with like tons of stalls, but the thing is like the light obviously is off to preserve energy, and then it flashes on when you like enter the room, but then it flashes on and then all you see is just like a hallway of stalls and there's nobody else in there. So I'd always be so scared, but I have to pee, so then I go in, literally pee so fast, and this is so bad, but I wouldn't flush the toilet because I was scared that if I flushed the toilet, one, it's really loud, and two, I was always scared that like something would like jump out and eat me from the toilet. And I don't know if it was like movies or things that I watched, but like I was so scared, and then I would like run out.
Public bathrooms like are very scary. So like in your high school, school public ones, like change rooms. Yeah, it's just ones that flash on the lights. Yeah. And it's just like dingy. It's always so dingy, and it's like gross. But you're not scared of like the bathrooms here in your home? No. Well, just public is what it depends. If I'm watching a scary movie, I cannot go to any room by myself. Well, you can't even watch scary movies. So. I know. So that's the thing. If I do watch it, the thing about scary movies is that like I know that I'm scared of them, but my parents used to always watch them, and then I walk into the room and I'm so captivated by the storyline, so then I'll stay and watch it even though I'm scared of it. And so then I'm like, my eyes are glued, but I'm like, this is really bad for you. And I would like I always just imagine things. Like I scare myself. Yeah. So I scare myself by imagining things in different rooms. And like, yeah, I cannot go to the bathroom by myself when I'm scared of things.
I have to turn on all the lights, and then somebody needs to come with me.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
All right, so give us your scary movie recommendations, and then we'll make a YouTube video of us watching it.
No, it's so bad. But yeah, we got really off topic.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of all we really wanted to say.
That's
about
kind of all that
sleep,
we've experienced so far as well. It's only been 4 months with our baby.
But it's
Bean.
like everything that everybody says is true. And if you're like me and you're very resistant to like people telling you what to do or like how things are gonna be, because people are like, oh yeah, like get all your sleep hours in, like you're gonna be so sleep deprived. And
I mean, that doesn't help because like sleeping like 48 hours the day before.
Yeah,
it's not
no,
really
it doesn't help.
you.
No, it doesn't help. But
it's
I think
trying
like
to sleep
it is,
while you have your baby.
Yeah, and it's like trying to be well rested. I think a part of that, like a lot of people, kind of what I was reading online and like blogs and stuff, is that a lot of people say sleep while your baby sleeps, and then I feel like it's two different sides. Like there's one side that says sleep while your baby sleeps, and then the other side that says like how can you expect me to sleep when there's so much stuff to do, you know? And like we've talked about this before, but I think that especially in the beginning, because things are like you're learning so much and tensions are so high, getting rest is more important in my opinion than doing the laundry. I mean, unless you're like all out of stuff, but don't be afraid to ask for help because it's most important for you and your partner, whoever's doing the parenting, to be well rested, because whenever we're both tired, we're so cranky and like we're so short with each other.
Yeah.
And it's just like I just want to like quickly rock Blue to sleep or feed him so that he'll go to sleep, and then when he doesn't stay asleep, then I get so frustrated. And, like I don't take it out on him, but it's just like my general energy.
She takes it out on me.
Yeah, I take it on Dan, or like my general energy is just like so stressed, which is like not a good, it's not a good state to be in, because you don't want like your memory of early parenthood or your relationship with your baby to be framed by that emotion. And so, yeah, as much as you can, either ask for help so that you can get some rest or just prioritize your rest, because like everything else, in my opinion, can wait. Yeah.
Definitely.
But it's hard. I mean, I can see, we'll revisit this if we have another child, because we keep thinking now, like, holy shit, like, if we have another kid, like, imagine doing all of this, but with, like, a toddler.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every experience is so different, and every baby's so different, so, like, we have no idea what to expect with, like,
I feel like we
baby.
did, even though it's been rough, and I think, like, the colicky, we kind of got the short end of the stick with how upset he was in the beginning.
And the jaundice.
We did, also find out that when we gave him probiotics, like you can get little like probiotic drops in the pharmacy. Just make sure you're getting the right one, that it's like not for an adult, because it's like babies, it's like a smaller dosage for babies. But we found that really, really, really helped with his colic. Obviously checking with your doctor. Don't say that I referred you, but it's something that worked for us. But just giving him probiotic shots really helped with his colic. And so it was honestly night and day. Like he was like so much happier. And like when he was awake, like literally before that, he was crying constantly when he was awake. Like there was not a single time where he wasn't crying. So yeah, probiotics really, really helped. And then eventually we like stopped doing it because he just kind of grew out of needing it. But yeah, I feel like at the beginning we got the short end of the stick, and then once he was kind of more adjusted, like he slept so beautifully. So like people were so surprised that we like looked so well rested and happy. I think just because we learned what worked best for our baby, and like doing it consistently. That's the thing that people say all the time, but it really works, because if you keep switching up, like, oh, like, okay, this doesn't work, let me try this, let me try this, let me try this, like your baby's just gonna get more and more confused, because like you keep trying a bunch of different things and they're trying to adjust to what you're doing, but you're doing so much random stuff that it's just upsetting to them, that like they're like, okay, I thought I was gonna go to sleep when you did this, but now you're doing this, like I don't get it.
Yeah, so we just gotta continue the same routines.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good time when he would just like sleep all through the night. Like we actually got so much rest.
Yeah.
Now I am feeling fatigued again, and that's just because he is waking up like every once in a while, but I mean it's still not that bad. It's not
like,
as bad as the beginning.
Literally last night, like, so he had his first disaster nap, which is like a part of this 4-month sleep regression, and it took us 2 to 3 hours to put him down for a nap. And like at that point, like you kind of want to give up, because you're just like, okay, he doesn't want to sleep, like he won't fall asleep, like let me just, I don't know, like walk him around the house or like have him be awake. But the thing is, like, he's showing you that he's tired and it's just hard for him to fall asleep. So
yeah, 2 nights ago we stayed up till like 3 a.m.
Yeah, it was
so
rough.
exhausting.
Yeah, that night was really rough.
And then last night I slept like so early because I was like,
I need to prepare for the 3 a.m. wake. But he actually didn't wake up early because we gave him a bottle. So I pretty much exclusively breastfeed. We only give him formula if like Dan's mom is watching him, so then she'll feed him. Or in the very beginning when my milk supply was so unstable, like if I felt like I didn't have enough milk, then we would just have formula so that, you know, in case I run out.
Just to, like, top him up.
Yeah, but then we hadn't done it for a really long time because it was stable. Like, he was eating well, he was sleeping well, we didn't need it. But I feel like lately, because it's been such a struggle to get him to feed because he wants to look around at the room, we actually found that when he's feeding from a bottle, he's not, like, facing my body. He can, like, face kind of outward. And so he'll actually be happy to, like, feed and then also look around. So we gave him a bottle right before bed, and I think, like, him having, like, enough milk, like, really put him out. So, yeah, I think that was really helpful. So,
we'll keep trying that and see how it goes.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So, yeah, that is our sleep update. I hope that this was helpful, insightful. I feel like it's important to talk about because I think that on social media, like, a lot of people be like, I don't know how you guys are doing all of this, like, with the move and, like, us constantly creating content, and it's hard. Like,
it's exhausting.
It is really, really hard, and we are exhausted, but
it's not impossible.
It's not impossible, and I think that we're both also very happy. Like, I think we're very happy to have, like, kind of a sense of normalcy and, like, be able to work.
Yeah.
But then also being able to be as present with him as possible, and, like, because Blue is growing so much, now he's awake longer, so I am finding that we have to entertain him more. Before, like, you would just put him down to sleep and he would sleep throughout most of the day, but now he's, like, awake, wanting to do stuff. He wants you to hold him, he wants to play with his toys, he wants to, like, we got a jumperoo recently, which, like, made it kind of rough because now all he wants to do is be on his feet. So I don't know that we're gonna keep putting him in the jumperoo because I feel like it's too early for him to stand. He should
learn how to crawl first.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's too early for him to stand, but all he wants to do is be in a standing position. So basically, like, we just need to entertain him a lot more now. So I feel like maybe the first couple of months when he was sleeping through the night, we were doing a lot more because we had more time. But I think that now we're going to find that it's much more difficult to have time to do our other things because even when he's playing, he wants us to be there with him. Like, he wants us to literally watch him play with a teether toy. Like, you can't just sit him down and think that he's entertained because he's doing something. He needs you to sit there watching him do it. So that wasn't the case before. So, yeah, we'll see if, you know, we'll constantly adjust. And I think, like, it's just going to get to a point where even though me and Dan like doing everything together, I think it's just going to get to a point where one of us needs to be hanging out with him and then the other person can, like, go do chores or, like, get some work done. But
we'll take shifts. We'll
constant attention
and stuff.
Yeah, babies need constant attention, and I mean, it's good. It's like they thrive when you give them attention. So I think it's important. Yeah, it's important for us too, and we're just adjusting. We're constantly adjusting, which is good.
And we'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah. All right, so we will see you guys next week. You can follow us at Neens Deens. I am your girl, Neens.
And I'm Dan's Day Off.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Have a good one.
Oh, it's my birthday week next week.
Ayo. Wish you a happy birthday.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.